But of course another part of the rationale for sending transmigrants to Papua was to alter the demographic balance of the province, to make it more plural and more Indonesian, rather than being exclusively ethnic Papuan. However, this has always been a strong source of grievance for indigenous Papuans who feel that they're being swamped in their own land. And under the Abdurrahman Wahid government in 2000, the transmigration program to Papua was stopped at the request of Papuan leaders. However, there continue to be large flows of spontaneous economic migrants from other Indonesian islands to Papua. And arguably this will increase with the large-scale plantation investment that's being planned in several districts.
Much more effective than the government-sponsored and controlled transmigration project has been the voluntary or economic migration of other Indonesians, mostly from eastern Indonesia, from Sulawesi in particular, and from the Moluccas. And these are people volunteering, truly, to move to Papua for whatever period of time. And they come with economic skills, capital, networks in place. And they've really taken over pretty much all of the small business opportunities in most of the towns and cities, and even in rural centres. They absolutely dominate the local economy in Papua. And that really, if you like, is the friction zone for tension between Papuans and other non-Papuan Indonesians.
There are a lot of economic grievances fueling some of the resentment amongst ethnic Papuans towards the Indonesian government. And there's a disparity between the distribution of resources that are based in Papua, but Papuans feel they're not seeing the benefit of the oil and gas and minerals that are being mined from those provinces.
West Papua is rich in natural resources, and transnational corporations have long exploited the country, reaping millions of dollars from mining and logging operations. Both BP and BHP Billiton have active operations in West Papua, and their practices have attracted concern from environmentalists and indigenous Papuans. But the corporation that earns most of the spotlight in West Papua is Freeport-McMoRan. Freeport is the world's biggest gold and third biggest copper mine, and is Indonesia's largest taxpayer. Since it began its operations in 1967, Freeport has caused massive environmental and cultural destruction. Like many profitable businesses operating within Indonesia, Freeport-McMoRan has close ties with the Indonesian military.
The Indonesian military is funded by the Indonesian state to the tune of only 25 to 30% approximately. So what that means is that 70 to 75% of the revenue for the Indonesian military comes from illegal and legal business activities. So one of the ways the Indonesian military funds their operation is providing security to corporations.
As well as paying for security services, Freeport funds the building of military facilities and makes an annual donation of $11 million to the TNI. Ongoing human rights abuses on Papuans living in the mine region are orchestrated by the TNI's security services, which are paid for by Freeport. Calls for an independent inquiry by human rights groups have consistently been ignored.
There's been growing international interest in Papua, partly thanks to the energetic lobbying of exiled Papuans and sympathetic solidarity movements linked to the independence movement, and several parliamentarians in European and other countries, Australia and New Zealand to name a couple of others, have raised the profile of the issue, particularly in the context of a review of the Act of Free Choice, the 1969 vote by 1,000 Papuans to join the Republic of Indonesia, which is widely regarded as deeply illegitimate.
The Indonesians were required to put the whole question of incorporation of Netherlands, New Guinea into Indonesia to a plebiscite, a representative vote. Now that would have been difficult for anyone to organise, the Dutch or Jakarta, and in the end what they did was hand-pick a very small number of leading figures from around the province, as they called it, and these people were pretty much coerced into offering 100% support for the incorporation of Netherlands New Guinea into Indonesia. So it was a fraudulent show, if you like, of democracy.
I can't imagine the Indonesian government allowing another referendum in the foreseeable future simply because there would be a unanimous vote in favour of independence. I don't imagine the UN General Assembly or Security Council would ever support a review of the Act of Free Choice because it was overseen and sanctioned by the UN at the time.